Hello and welcome. And before we get going, quickly I want to let you know about the Embodied Recovery series that's free and coming out soon, October 8th through the 14th. And it's not on YouTube, but it is free. I'll put out the first or second class on YouTube, but it's hosted on my website. So you can go to the link in the bio and sign up for that, and you'll get classes with some inquiry every day for a week. And you know, I believe, and we believe, it's me, Christine, and Jack that are teaching it, that while recovery, you know, there's a really big mental aspect and cognitive aspect, but there's so much an embodied cognition that needs to happen, this patterning at deeper levels. And there's so many practices. We have so many practices available to us to explore with all of our inner knobs and levers to find more skillful and easeful ways of being in the world. So if you're interested in that, it's coming soon. Just sign up and it's free, and we'll send you the classes along with some inquiry, and there's an optional WhatsApp group. We did this last year and it was a beautiful, beautiful success. So yeah, a lot of community coming together. That's what is considered success. So please join if you would like. Today, I want to talk about these patterns in a sense. And I was at an authentic relating class the other day. And the offering was about that how we default into familiarity when it seems like there's so much freedom and expansiveness in front of us, like it seems like a no-brainer, yet we continue to have like elastic pulling us back into something that you're like, why would I have chosen that? Anybody else been there? It's this feeling of like, how did I get here again? This is not where I wanted to be. Like, how am I here again? And an example that was given was, you know, more than half of the people who win the lottery, big sums of money, $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, more than half of them within 5 years have nothing left of it. Nothing left of it. So we were discussing and wondering together about what is this about? It seemed so counterintuitive that you would be living paycheck to paycheck a few years after you are multimillionaire. And what we were, you know, thinking about is like often we have this, we're so identified with the way that we are, the ways in which we, maybe not identified, but habituated into living in a certain way, living in a certain identity, living in certain patterns, that when given the option to get really big and wide and to think about the freedom that can come with that much money, it's almost like it's too radical. It's too different than what was, even if what was came with a lot of challenge. I mean, not that having a ton of money all of a sudden it would come with a whole set of other challenges, like massive challenges. But we use this as a metaphor to explore. So people were offering in different things about how, you know, if you get really identified with some chronic pain or an illness, whenever you come into remission or spaciousness, often you can find this rebound back into it or a lostness within the space. And I equated it to, I spent all my 20s bouncing back and forth, mainly back into a very deep addiction. My relapse was, I would all of a sudden like, oh, the world is all possible. No, I want to stay in this tiny little trap. Oh, the world is all possible. Oh, I'm going to stay in this place that's just so hard. And it's, to everyone around me, everyone's like, what? What? And I didn't want sobriety. I was addicted to this identity of this being this party girl and this delusion of grandeur kind of that I had that wasn't true. But at the same time, I also knew how much it hurt. I knew that my aspiration for substance use was not the truth. even though I forgot that often. But when offered the ability to do something different, and people helped me so much along the way, and I always, until the very last time, would essentially throw it back at them. I don't want your help. I don't want your help. It's very confounding to everybody around me. And so thinking about this, it's like my uncomfortable, my painful familiarity, I was more intimate with this painful familiarity than I was with possible unknown. So maybe likely this is associated for something with you. You can find this in relationships with the way in which we see ourselves when offered other opportunity. And in yoga, not in yoga, in Sanskrit and in Pali, there's a word samskara, and it means these unconscious habitual loops. It's like the hamster wheel things, the things that we do so often that we don't even know we're doing them anymore. They can be positive, they can be negative, but they're very hard to shift. It's like water flowing with the least resistance. When we behave, when we create, when we believe things over and over and over, we create these samskaras, and then that water just naturally flows. And whenever you begin to make another path, if this groove is still deeper, the water will still flow through the easiest way. So it's very hard to begin to carve out a new path. And this is really recovery. It's a slow, steady carving of a new path, and hopefully a new path that comes closer to home, because where we've been, likely while it's familiar and why it may feel like a home in many ways, is taking us farther and farther from ourselves and from everyone else. So that's the inquiry. We're going to move and breathe. That's it. Easy. We're going to move and breathe, and maybe in a few ways that are not in a pattern that's set in your body, and see what happens. How do you move when you don't move the way you always do? So to begin, just close the eyes or let them be heavy. And feel your breath in your body. And we'll do a little breath pattern that might be new, just for a bit. It's going to be 2 sips of breath in and 1 out. It's going to be like this. So when you're ready, switching up the typical pattern. Inserting something new and seeing what happens. And maybe you slow it down. Maybe you speed it up, but about 5, 6 more times. And release. Let it be smooth, steady. And feel what's here. And move off your block or bolster if you have anything there. And we'll take the soles of the feet together. And take the hands and crisscross them at the ankles. Roll the shoulders back. Kind of pull the heart forward. And stay here for a moment, leaning back into the heart as you pull the heart forward, so both things are happening. Feeling what's touching the earth. And maybe pressing into one sit bone and the other, trying to find that center-ish spot in the middle. And from that space, reach up. Neck lengthens, crown of the head lengthens. And then slowly release the left hand, and with resistance, we're going to peel open. Open, open, open. Not too much, don't strain. And then up. And let the hand melt down. And maybe you kind of pour forward a little bit. And then lean back, right arm open, open, opens. Gaze follows. And then hands up and over, and then move like this. And you can add anything you'd like or switch it up. Option here, maybe you begin to grab for the outside of the foot and lengthen the foot as you open. Whatever you're doing, you're moving with breath, and there's this sensation of kind of riding the breath. Movements don't matter so much. Once more each side. And then scribble the spine, no pattern at all. Ripple. Then find your way into tabletop, however you'd like to get there. And wag the tail. Jello-y in the spine. And then the right hand plants as the left arm lifts up. Again, another twist here, and then exhale, pour through, but don't come all the way down. Just reach as far as you can, and when you get there, press down, chin to chest, and unwind again. You can make it a little dramatic. And then exhale, reach. Once more, press down, ripple up. And then this time, reach through and stay. And any variation here, maybe you reach the right arm up and it goes around the back. Maybe you tuck it in between the little nook between the hip and the leg. Or you can extend the right leg out. Anything that feels good here. And then stay twisted as you sink the hips back. Sink the hips back. Chin comes to the chest. And then arms eagle. And then cat-cow in the spine. Slow, steady arc and round. And then come up onto the knees, and we'll step the left knee forward and find some buoyancy, some pulse. And then unwind the arms and twist open to the left slowly here. Sink the hips forward, exalted warrior. So it's a slight twist and a slight back bend. Let it be soft. And then wave the hands down. Step back. Child's pose. It's a knee step back. Chin to chest. Round as you come forward. And as you come forward, come up onto the fingertips. Really push, push, push. Let the back of the heart spread. And then as the belly comes down, the shoulders roll back, the knees get soft, and you push the hips back to the heels. So it's a rolling cat-cow. Curl the tailbone. Begin to pull yourself forward, drag through the hands, pull, 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 pull. And then as you get there, soften elbows, soften belly, and push yourself back. So your choice, fingertips or not. Once more, pull yourself forward, and let's stay here for a moment. Round, round, round. And then release. Tabletop. We'll switch sides. Push into the left hand this time. This is your anchor. And then open up to the right. And then reach down 3 times. Push and lift. Any sighs, any hums, everything welcome. And then stay. Steady breath, bringing breath into belly, especially when we're twisted up. The pattern is to breathe in the chest when we're twisted, or to stop when things feel frictiony. Stop and hold. Can we repattern gently this fluid breath, especially when there's a little bit of edge or a little bit of static? Slowly sink the hips back and around the back, and you come center. eagle arms, cat-cow. And the next time, stand up on the knees and step forward with the right foot, find some pulse. And then slowly unwind to open to the right. And it's a soft, soft, exalted warrior. And wave the hands down. This time step back, downward facing dog. Oof, pedal out, wag the tail. All right. Step forward with the right foot. Take the back knee down and then lengthen the front leg. Roll the shoulders back and pull the heart forward as if you could like kiss your heart to your toes. And then shift forward a couple times like this. And then maybe see if you can lift your arms up. Maybe they reach forward as you extend the leg. And then see what it's like to pass through the threshold of your arms like you're passing through a gate. Maybe the elbows, the hands and the elbows touch and you open up into cactus as you sink the hips forward. And then pour forward, arms reach. You can bow down, chin can come to the chest, and then pull yourself forward. It's like you're pulling the knee and the heel together. Once more like that. All right, listen up. Back toes tuck. Take eagle arms, crescent lunge. Find some pulse here. And then open up, crescent lunge twist. Back heel can press back. And then exalted warrior. All right, listen up. Warrior two, back heel plants. Warrior two. Find some pulse here. Everything's soft, everything's soft. And can you find some strength in your legs and then find some fluidity in your arms? There's no shape. There's no pattern. There's no alignment. See what's here when you're firmly footed. And you can play with that too. But how do you move if you don't move the way you always move? How do you warrior two if the traditional warrior two is off the table? Reverse warrior. And wave, hands down, downward facing dog. You can take a little vinyasa or not, or you can just stay here and feel in. Wherever you are, we'll meet in downward dog in a moment. And then step forward, and maybe you don't lift the leg first. There's another movement pattern. We have all kinds of movement patterns. We always lift the leg first, but what if you just step it forward instead? Bend the knees, are kind of on train tracks. Oh, actually bring the back knee down. We'll do this first. Lengthen the front leg. And just a couple times, pulse forward and back. Really flexing the front toes and anchoring the heel into the earth. That's going to be the resource, the anchor point. And then when you're ready, you can pass through the arms. And then as you lengthen, the heart reaches forward as the hands reach forward. And then maybe there's a ripple of the spine as you come forward, open up. Let this be yours. You don't have to move like me. Move like you. And next time, eagle arms, go the other way, the opposite way. Tuck the back toes and lift up into crescent. Softness. And then unwind. Crescent. And a really soft, exalted warrior. All right, warrior two, back heel plants. And the same thing here. You can bounce into the feet, feel rooted there, and feel so rooted that you can explore and get jello-y up top. And maybe you're super soft in spacious air, or maybe the air is thick and there's some resistance. So more like moving through a molasses. It energizes everything a bit more. There maybe is even a quiver in the limbs. If you're going quickly, maybe slow it down to see if you can feel more. A couple more rounds of breath. Just wondering what's possible. And reverse warrior. Wave it all the way down. This time, step forward. Forward fold. And then with care and slowness and curiosity, slowly rise up. Separate your feet, and maybe there's a wave or a shake or a vibration as you do. Maybe you come up a little bit and then fold back down. And then come up a little bit and fold back down. Maybe it's with breath or maybe it's not. But the spine slowly begins to stack. And then as you get there, spread the feet firmly. You can lift them, but let them be open so that each time they touch, it's like there's many points of contact and you could root down. And then your choice here, just to shift side to side, or maybe you kind of lift the feet so you're planting them back down. Or maybe it's a really slow vibration. You choose. And maybe the arms get extended, or maybe they're hanging and just no bones or energy in them at all. They just move as a byproduct. So your choice. How would you like to explore right here? And once we can move past the way things are supposed to look, we can let them look as they do. As we move past the way we think we should be, we can be as we are. And who we are is a shifting target, remember. There isn't this like one true thing. We are many things, so we have to stay curious and questioning. Stay in the wonder. And then keep that wiggle, that jello, and come into a goddess pose. Maybe you bring the hands to the hips and do some shoulder dips or something that feels familiar at first. And then from there, can you move out of that familiarity and exploring maybe through Skandasana, wide leg forward fold, goddess pose. There's lots of things, lots of places, even with keeping the feet planted, so many places in between. Shifting samskara, shifting these patterns rather than always going back into that path of least resistance, requires a curiosity and a willing to do something different. And the new thing, the weird thing, will always be the harder thing until it's done enough that you set a pattern and maybe it becomes easier. The hard thing eventually becomes the easier thing. To quote the great Robert Sapolsky. And let's take a wide leg forward fold. So now the toes turn in just slightly and the heels turn out just slightly. Maybe take the hands to the hips, kind of press down so you can traction the upper body up and lean back. Let the shoulders roll back, open the heart, soften the knees, and then hinge at the hips. Heart-led. As you fold forward and let the hands land where they'd like to land. Maybe it's a downward dog, hands, maybe they crawl through, or any variation. And we'll slowly find a malasana squat. Maybe the heels lift as you shift side to side. Take a twist if you'd like. maybe a couple times. That feels nice. Leaning into one leg, pushing away with the other. And like, sometimes I'm just making stuff up as I go, and then I'm like, oh, that's so good. Like I just did that. I'm like, oh, wow, this is nice. That's often how we find, like, what are all the things that we love that we don't know we love yet? Like, what's your favorite food that you haven't tasted? Who's that person that you adore who you haven't met? What parts of you haven't been introduced to you yet? Find your way to a seat. Even in my yoga practice, it's changed so much. It's always evolving. Like, what will my practice be like in 5 years, 10 years? What will I be curious about? Never would I have thought that I would be so curious about birds. I'm in my birding era. I never would have pegged me for that. But it's exciting to recognize and to realize that there's so much possibility if we stay open. So much possibility if we stay open. So any last sways, wiggles that you'd like? We'll just close with some stillness and silence. And noticing. Noticing what's here, noticing what's not. And a few rounds of breath to take us out. So in the beginning we did 2 in, 1 out, 2 in, 1 out. Let's do the opposite. Let's do 1 in, 2 out. Yeah? Whenever you're ready. About 3 more. And let the last out be very long and hold when you get out. And then a big inhale. Hold at the top. And then an out breath, let it go, and breath back to normal. Back to unmanaged, open. Noting, feeling anything that's here. It's just a soft awareness. Slowly bring your hands together. Maybe the thumbs land at the heart, maybe they land at the third eye. Just remember this soft awareness as you move through your day, but also through your journey of this self-discovery. Or as we look at our patterns and our samskaras, like there can be this sense of urgency of needing to shift and change, and really we just need to bring a soft awareness to welcome what's there first. And the paradox is that only when we accept things, only when we can like make space for them, do they begin to shift. So it's a shift out of love, a shift out of welcoming rather than out of something needing to be fixed. So soft awareness. One more inhale. And exhale, pour forward in thanks and gratitude for this practice, for this earth, for this life, for our relationships, anything else. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope that this class was of benefit. And if you're interested, come and join for the series. If the series date has already passed, you can still go to the website and the classes will be, you'll be able to still get the classes for self-study. So thank you. I'll see you next time on your mat.